Stay home for Labour, isolate solidarity. Let's get together on Zoom, see into people's bedrooms. We're all voyeurs for free. Stay home for Labour, with Crispin is your MC. To the smell of your fragrant hand gel, hands like an ancient mummy. Let's stay home. Wave your toilet rolls in the air real quick. Have a laugh, have a sob, keep your spirits up. Cause when this is all over, we've got some asses to kick.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats for Stay Home for Labour. Please welcome your host, Crispin Flintoff.
Hello everyone, welcome to Stay Home for Labour, and here we are, our 12th show. It's great to be here. I've got my jacket back on. Obviously my hair is getting a little bit out of control with the lockdown, so I've actually bought a hat to sort it all out, because I think the only way you can really deal with it is a hat. So I've got my new lockdown hat. This will keep it all going for a few months, then I might have to extend that. I'm sure you all think I look really cool, and I'm going to introduce our first guest for today, Mark Mr T Thompson. Are you there, Mark Mr T Thompson?
At the moment, but no, yes, I am definitely with you.
And you've got the time right behind you. That's fantastic. I know we're running a bit late now, so you've just reminded me of that. So, so Mark, could you...
Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, well, you could have covered it. Could you start us off with a poem?
Well, I'm a poet, so that's what I should do. This one is called Fair Game, and it was originally written in 2015 or 16, trying to persuade people to join the party. Repurposed for the elections, and now I think it's reaching out to those of you who might be disappointed with the results of the leadership election and trying to persuade you to stay with us, because we need you all. And hopefully it goes almost exactly like this. Some claim they don't do politics because it's a game of dirty tricks that powerful people try to fix. I guess that much is true. I too can see what's going wrong. The same sad singers sing the same sad songs, leaving no space for me and you to feel that we belong. But if that leaves you in a rage, which makes you choose not to engage, we leave for them an empty stage to fill with tall tales too short on other points of view. So I beg you not to turn away. Please know your value to the fray. It will be a dirtier game if you don't play, and maybe slightly fairer if you do. Thank you. My wife's wondering whether she should give me a round of applause. You clap away.
But it's always nice to feel like you've got an audience. You can't hear the applause. They're all clapping out there. But you have to mute them all. So how long have you been doing spoken word and poetry on a picket line as well? That's part of the thing that was from, wasn't it?
That was published as part of the poetry on the picket lines. Chip Grimm approached me and said, did I have anything appropriate, because he knew that my politics were in the right place. And that was one that was wheeled out for that. But I've been doing spoken words for about 15 years, published my first book in 2009, done workshops in schools, performances, hosted. Yeah, I'll be after your job next. So watch your back.
All right. Oh, well, thanks for giving me the warning. But the spoken word stuff, allied to the political stuff, were you always a political poet, or is that just something that's come recently?
I was a political beast before I was a poet. I tend to write about the things that get me passionate, and those tend to be, there are some light moments. I occasionally will do something, but which is not overtly political. But the personal is political and the political is personal. So, I mean, you can't really get away without a bit of politics if you care enough about the world, I would say.
And what's your you've got one more poem for us?
Yeah.
What have you decided to?
I'm probably going to wheel out this one. I live in Lewisham, and in 1977, you may or may not be aware that we had a bit of a disagreement, a bit of a Barney with a few gentlemen, a few thugs from the British National Party and the National Front who wanted to walk from New Cross to Lewisham just basically to upset the locals. And we decided, with a bit of help from some friends from around the country, that it was a bad idea. I say we, I was only 4, but my mum and my stepdad were both there. And it was a much heralded story. And 3 years ago, when we had the 40th anniversary, we had a plaque unveiled on the site. And I was asked to write something which was performed there. And it even made it onto the realms of the BBC. That was on Radio 4. But yeah, I'll do this poem for you, and hopefully you'll see the relevance. Apologies, there are some relevant references to street names and things that will mean nothing unless you are from SE4 or SE14, but the rest of the world will get the gist of how we felt about the National Front trying to walk through our streets and what we did about it. So this one is called Intolerance Not Welcome. An anti-muggers march called by mugs who wanted to spread hate. August 13th in 77, history demands we mark the date when South East London screamed out for black and white to unite and fight, ensuring these wrong uns on the right would never again be so bold or bright. The backward front was in for one hell of a surprise. They'd find Clifton was a hill up which they just couldn't rise. So behind brown boy hunting boys in blue and baton-wielding horsemen, on Achilles, this most dishonourable guard wheeled to come again. But the locals stood firm, even with kids in our front ranks. So today, us youngsters need to give it up and show some thanks to those old boys and girls who got up, stood up, and who never come for clear. The beating heart of Lewisham, who pogo skanked to block the way. Some will tell you that we rioted, and they're not entirely wrong, but we would not be quieted. We faced up proud and strong, landing one thump on fascism's glass chin. Sure, we fought with the law, but the law couldn't win because these are our streets, and this is our home, where from the cradle we're rocked by our beats and still mock racists who fear on these roads to roam. You see, what happened on this day is, as one, our people made it clear. Intolerance, listen up. You are not welcome here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mark. That was really, I really enjoyed that, and I did go down to South East London. They had the BNP had a bookshop set up down there
in Welling. Yes, we had a few Barneys on the way past that on occasion over the years.
Yeah, it's great to hear you. Sorry, I've got to move on because we've got so many people here, but I hope you can come back and do another couple of poems later on.
Yeah, I'll be more than happy to.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. And I'm now going to speak to our special guest for today, who is all the way up there in Leeds, although that's not that far for Mark, our co-host. How are you, Richard? Are you all right?
I'm very well. I really enjoyed those poems from Mark. Really fantastic. Really fantastic.
It's great that you could come on here. We appreciate it. You've been really busy with so much since the general election and the coronavirus, and now obviously the Labour leaks have come out as a big story. So it's just non-stop. A lot of people are actually thinking that they're not sure if they should stay in the Labour Party, and there are people outside the Labour Party who are encouraging people to try and leave, possibly. What's your message to those people who are not sure about the Labour Party after what they've read in these leaks?
My message actually is a similar message that given by John McDonnell and Nadia, who've been on the programme with you recently. I understand how heartbroken people feel when they see those reports, the allegations that people at the top of the Labour Party staff allegedly took part in activity to try and scupper Labour's chances of winning that 2017 general election. We were just 2,500 votes across the country short of winning. And so I understand that people who are giving up their spare time out campaigning in all weathers feel heartbroken, feel betrayed if the allegations in those reports are true. But what I would say is this: it would be a big, big mistake to leave the Labour Party on the basis of those reports, even if they turn out to be true. Why? Because to do so would reward the kind of behaviour alleged in those reports. To do so would delight those who never wanted a socialist prime minister, those who never wanted a government with a social economic policy, who never wanted an anti-war internationalist, an anti-imperialist prime minister, which we would have had with Jeremy Corbyn. So we shouldn't reward that kind of view. We shouldn't delight those who allegedly wanted to scupper our better plans for society in government. And at the end of the day, I'm particularly conscious that some of the fantastic members we have who only joined since 2015 are probably used to winning every single internal election, more or less. Those of us who have been around a bit longer have had to get used to not winning every single internal Labour election. So I understand as well that left members who joined to support Jeremy in that leadership election in 2015, or who joined to support Jeremy in that leadership election in 2016, which should have never have happened, may be disappointed that the left candidate for leader and the left candidate for deputy leader didn't win. But they need to stay within the party, because they should reflect upon the fact, and I hope they can, that without left members staying within the party throughout those years when Tony Blair even took us into a war in Iraq and supported George Bush's plan to invade and occupy Iraq, without those left members staying in, there wouldn't have been those left MPs. There wouldn't have been sufficient MPs to nominate Jeremy to become a candidate for leader in the first place. So not only wouldn't have Jeremy become leader of the Labour Party, he wouldn't have even been on the ballot paper. I mean, I remember, for example, when Ian Lavery was selected to be the parliamentary candidate in his own constituency. At that time, he became MP back in 2010. Back at that time, it was very unusual for someone with Ian's overt socialist politics to be selected in the Labour Party. And then I got selected in my own seat to be the candidate for Parliament in the 2015 general election. Again, at that time, it was unusual for someone with my overtly left politics to get selected in the seat, which is classed as a safe Labour seat. Not that I like or accept that label.
Can I just ask you what? I mean, I suppose you could say from the left, and I support Jeremy Corbyn. I was inspired by Tony Benn to get into politics. I like your mug, apart from I support Fulham, by the way. We would have beaten you in that game. But anyway.
If only you had the chance.
But I think that the leaks thing is more than about a factional thing. I think it's about the culture of the top of the party not listening to the rank and file of the party, regardless of whether they're left or right. I mean, I think there's a democratic problem in the Labour Party, and I'm wondering, what do you think we can do to give the grassroots more power, not just through deselecting MPs, but through having actual resources? Because to me, the problem with the Labour Party is the money is all at the top. Like £2.50 a year goes to a CLP and £47 goes to the HQ. So the CLPs are all struggling. I mean, if the grassroots had more money, then maybe the HQ would be more accountable and less kind of giving certain amounts of money, allegedly, possibly to certain MPs that they preferred to support in 2017. I mean, that seems to be a major problem, not just the left and right thing. What do you think about that?
Well, in my deputy leadership campaign, I did make the point it'd be good to better resource constituency Labour parties. I also made a case for a more democratic Labour Party, obviously open selections, and some of us will continue to argue for that. But also I proposed in my deputy leadership campaign the idea of the leaders of Labour groups being selected by Labour Party members. If you think about it, that's a real democratic deficit in our party, because our candidate for Prime Minister is chosen by Labour Party members. Our candidates for Parliament are chosen by Labour members. Our candidates for council are chosen by Labour members. When candidates for the European Parliament, they were chosen by Labour members. Our candidates to be mayors of local authorities or metro mayors are chosen by the members. So the odd one out is the leader of Labour groups. And I think that it really needs exploring the idea that any councillor could put the name forward and Labour members in the area could vote for them to be leader of the Labour group on the council. And some people say, oh, this is illegal because that's trying to have Labour members selecting who is the head of a local authority. It's actually not. All it would be Labour members choosing the leader of the Labour group, and then, of course, the Labour group would be whipped at the AGM of the council to vote for the leader of the Labour group to the leader of the council. We need to be making the case for democracy when it comes to this idea of people at the top of the party, elected staff members in power roles, allegedly attempt to control the election. And then clearly there's also a case to answer in relation to racism, sexism, bullying and harassment. What I would say to people is that if these very serious allegations are proven, then it should be no surprise to socialists if there were, and if it is proven, if there were attempts to destabilise or suppress Labour's opportunities to get into power. The history of our movement, both in this country and around the world, is littered with attempts at sabotage, attempts at destabilisation. The miners' strike, for example, I recommend people that have a chance to read shares Milne's superb miners' strike. It's talked about like Roger Windsor. Roger Windsor, a high-up unelected job in union mine workers, and people take very, very seriously now the allegation that he was working at the state to undermine the miners' strikes. Destabilisation of progressive movements is nothing new, and the only way to avoid that potentiality is to be in a progressive movement that has no chance of succeeding in its goals or no chance of taking power. So we need to argue and continue arguing for a more democratic Labour Party, but we need to stand as well that class politics and socialist politics isn't a game whereby your opponents will necessarily play fair. So people have got to not kid themselves. If you're on the verge of getting a government that's going to pursue a genuinely socialist economic policy, if you're on the verge of getting a prime minister who's anti-war, international, anti-imperialist, who's going to be the prime minister of a country with a permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council, and you can bet your bottom dollar that powerful interests will do all they can, wherever they can, to scupper that. So to imagine that these allegations, if they're proven to be true, mean, oh, the Labour Party's not fit for purpose, some foul play's been going on, let's leave, I think misunderstands the nature of power in our society. If you formed a new political party, then it too would face attempts at destabilisation and sabotage if it got close to taking power. So I think we need to steel ourselves to the nature of the struggle that we take part in. We need to carry on getting those principled arguments from more democratic members of the Labour Party and remind people that the Parliamentary Labour Party is only part of the Labour Party. It's not the whole Labour Party.
I just want to interrupt you a bit because your signal's not perfect, but we'll crack on. We'll carry on because I reckon you can beat the bandwidth problem. You personally, you can do it. We can get through this. What's the coronavirus? Everything's going on in Parliament in a weird way, and Boris Johnson's saying they're doing quite well with this, controlling it. What do you think? What would you like to see as a policy for the government to pursue on coronavirus?
I think we've got to be clear that the government has sadly failed in its handling of this public health crisis. We're on course to be one of the countries with the greatest death toll in the world. The Prime Minister talks about the apparent success of the way the government's handled the coronavirus crisis, when we're on course to have maybe even the second highest number of deaths in the world for this, and all sorts of different levels of measurement, and you've got to ask yourself this question: what would success look like? The government delayed on bringing the lockdown into action. They failed on PPE. They failed from the start on testing, tracing and isolating. And now we read in the Times newspaper that Tory grandees are arguing for the lockdown to be eased prematurely before it's safe to do so, because in essence they're wishing to put profits for people's lives. So I think we need to be robust, because if we can't be robust when thousands and thousands of people in our communities are losing their lives and being put in harm's way unnecessarily, then when can we be robust? And I'm not surprised, by the way, that the government's poll ratings, even on this matter, are so high, because when people are justifiably scared, when there's a crisis, I think people want to convince themselves that someone in charge of this is going to sort it all out, and let's place our trust in them. But after the public health crisis is over, I think people will look back and they will see that people have needlessly died as a result of the government being too slow to lock down, too slow to sort out PPE, and too slow in other ways as well. And I think we also need to boldly put forward our argument for the kind of society we want after this public health crisis. The predictions are, sadly, that the economic situation after the public health crisis is likely to be even worse than the Great Depression. People who think austerity is dead as an economic and a political idea are sadly mistaken. Austerity is going to be on its way back. And so we've got to be making those arguments. That's why it's important that we say, for example, that there should be a holiday on rent. That's why it's important that we make the case that there should be a people's bailout. That's why we make the case, it's important that we do, that people's lives have to be put forward the pursuit of profit. That's why it's important that, for example, is making the schools shouldn't open until it's safe to do so. The National Educational Union is making that, of course, push to reopen schools and their opening is all about getting profits, because they want the schools to open so that more and more people can get back to work creating profits. So we've got to be really alert to that. We've got to speak out boldly and bravely. It's the right thing to do, and it's our duty to do, in my opinion.
Well, thank you, Richard. I'm afraid we've got to move on, but it's great to see you there, and thank you for all you're doing. And it was disappointing, your result in the deputy leadership, and a lot of people supported you, and we hope that you carry on. And you are a real inspiration, because you've got such determination, and it's great to see you. Thank you very much.
Can I just add one thing in response, Crispin, very quickly? Thanks for what you said. The deputy leadership contest, I take some heart from it. We put forward important arguments. We got the votes in the first round of more than 80,000 Labour members for an overt Bennett Corbynite programme. And before 2015, the idea of getting 80,000 Labour members voting for that would have seemed like a pipe dream. And as one activist told me, that's more people than you can fit in Wembley Stadium. And I'll leave you on this. The left has felt disheartened before because of internal matters in the Labour Party. And Nyron Bevan, the undisputed leader of the left in Parliament at the time, was expelled from the Labour Party whilst a Labour MP for 6 months. He got back in the Labour Party. He ended up creating the NHS, building those council houses, and ended up as deputy leader of the Labour Party. Imagine how devastated Labour members were then. That's the equivalent of Jeremy or Diane or John being thrown out of the Labour Party. So people stayed in, they won the arguments, they organised. So that's what we need to do.
All right. Thank you, Richard. We're now going on to the regular slot of the Labour Leaks update, and I am going to bring in to speak on this our second guest speaker, who is Kerry-Anne Mendoza, and you should be there. Kerry-Anne.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. It's lovely here in the valleys.
You're pretty prolific. I've seen your Twitter account. Your social media is amazing, and and all the stuff you put out as well. So what do you think about the Labour leaks? We've got to jump straight in because I haven't got much time. But what's your update on that? What do you think is going on at the moment, and how do you see this Labour leaks in the bigger picture of it?
I think, in one sense, I mean, it was really strange reading the report. It's obviously 800 odd pages, but I have been through it page by page. I don't think anyone is actually disputing the authenticity of those documents. So I don't think there's actually much of an argument for that these things weren't done or said, but more about the, how that information was gathered and data protection and stuff like that. But what was so frustrating about it is that many of us on the left knew this was happening, and we didn't just know it was happening sort of in our heart and soul. We knew it was happening because we'd done the journalistic work to find out that it was happening, and we were talking to people about the fact that it was happening. And the Canary, Squawk Box, other left publications paid an enormous price for simply continuing to report reality as it was happening, and all sorts of accusations were made against us and Labour members simply for standing our ground and kind of refusing to be gaslit. And what's deeply frustrating to me in the wake of this report being leaked is that when you compare the urgency with which left-wing members were purged in their thousands from the party for things such as retweeting a Green Party MP, or I think someone was literally purged for retweeting a Foo Fighters, these really ridiculous things, and all in the name of how important internal party, democracy and integrity was, and there was nothing more important than this. And I couldn't help but watch your interaction with Polly Toynbee on the Labour leaks, someone who has been one of the principal drivers of these accusations against left-wing members throughout, a critical part of that, and now all of a sudden, when the tables are turned and the sort of the masks are pulled off, suddenly this is just internal Labour nonsense, and we don't need to be talking about it. And there are more important things. Yeah. We can't suspend anyone yet. There's due process needs to take place, and we need to hold an inquiry that's going to happen months down the line, and all of these sort of signals that say, hey, we'll get to this on our own time, at our own pace. And while I'm asked often the same as Richard is, what do people leave the party? Is that the answer? And my position on that is this.
Don't say they should, by the way, because I have to mute you if you do.
No, I think that actually we need to treat people like adults, and it is absolutely unreasonable to say to a grown adult, you should continue to pay money and participate in campaign and leaflet for people who are actually actively racist, sexist and bullying towards you. That is an unfair request if you're not simultaneously saying, we are going to deal with these people. We are absolutely committed, no kidding, to being an organisation that lives its values every day. That has to be the agreement. Otherwise, to simply say to people, you have to stay because there are these monsters in control of things, and we'll never beat the monsters if you don't stay. I think the offer needs to be a bit more than that. But I think there's also this tendency to sort of have an argument between people who want to stay in the party and people who don't want to stay in the party. And for me, I think that is the mistake, actually. I'm actually not telling anyone whether they should stay or whether they should leave. I think people should make these decisions based on what they think is best to do. But I think, actually, both people, the people who leave and the people who stay, have really valuable contributions to make to what comes next, both in terms of holding this government to account. We have a government in power now who have knowingly, willingly walked this country off a cliff. You know, what has happened with the coronavirus is going to be the greatest disaster that's happened to this country in modern history, you know, for generations. And there is little to no opposition to that coming from any of the sources that it should be coming from. So yes, left-wingers need to stay in the party to just keep dragging the party as left as it's, you know, possibly able to drag it. And I also think there are a place for others to be activists and to have that activist energy and to be able to generate that kind of opposition in the way they think is most appropriate for them. And they can work with the Labour Party. They might vote Labour at the next election. You know, all of these things are possible. And we don't need to have an argument with each other as the left about what the best thing to do is. You know, I don't want to hear, you know, Labour MPs berating Labour members for leaving, having been literally calling them Nazis for 4 years. And there's also the issue here of people of colour, you know, to see race weaponized in the way it was by certain people against the left in recent years, and to then find out that actually when there is clear evidence of racist behaviour against black people, suddenly it's a fringe issue. Suddenly the newspapers don't have time to talk about it, the news programmes don't have time to talk about it, and the party doesn't have time to talk about it. And there is enormous, I cannot overstate the anger that there is and the frustration, particularly in the black community, but also in the Muslim community, for the unwillingness of the party to fight on their behalf, especially when they have stuck around and fought tooth and nail for this party under enormous fire from the press, from their own MPs, you know, and these people have fought doggedly for years. And then when they turn around and say, look, I really need you to fight for me now.
Yeah.
Where is the response? So I don't want to hear those people that are leaving treated as if they're somehow deserters. You know, these are people that have fought courageously and have simply reached their limit. And we should be tempting them back. Labour should be begging them back with the best offer of support that they can. It is on the Labour Party to retain those members, not for the members to altruistically continue to support a party that doesn't support them. And ditto, I think people who choose to leave don't need to be dumping on people who choose to stay, you know, and calling them names and calling them naive and whatever. Yeah. Those people have a role too, you know, and I think we just need to appreciate that each of us needs to fight the things that we're fighting at the moment in the way that most inspires us, in the way that drives us forward, in the way that gives us the most energy and the most return for our investment in terms of time and energy. And you know what? I stand shoulder to shoulder with every single one of you, whatever you're doing, whether you stay in the party or whether you leave, we are still comrades because we are still fighting the same fight. And that fight is for a socialist government of this country and an end to ideological austerity and an end to racism and bigotry in all of the forms that it exists. So that's why we're here, and we can continue to do that every day.
Thank you very much, Kerry-Anne. Really appreciate you coming on. And I didn't really give you a big build-up because I was looking at the time to get into this. But Kerry-Anne writes as the editor-in-chief of The Canary, which does lots of online stories that aren't covered elsewhere. So watch out for The Canary. And thank you, Kerry-Anne.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, Crispin.
I hope you come on again another time. We've now got our next part of the show, which is one of my favourite ones, which is the Labour Heroes quiz. And in our last show on Saturday, we had our champion was none other than Nadia from Aldershot. Now, is Nadia there? I can't see her. I can't see Nadia. She's chickened out. Maybe she has. Maybe she's just not got a signal. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the first question, and we'll see who gets the answer. Please put your chat in. Type it into the chat if you know who the following picture is. Okay. Here you go. Who is this? Does anybody know who that is? Do we have any answers to that? Stanley Johnson? No, it's not. It's not Tony Benn. No. Who's put Tony Benn's dad? Ian Drummond. He's put Tony Benn's dad. Ian Drummond, you have got the right answer. And you are there. Ian.
Oh,
you've never got your picture on. You're up now. Right, okay, good. Right, Ian, well done with that. I thought nobody would get that. That was a very good answer. So let's see if you can get the second question. You've become the champion by default because Nadia didn't turn up for this one. So you're the champion so far. Do you know who this is?
no.
No.
Let me see. Was it Bondfield?
No. Everyone says that every week. It is. She was the first female whip in the House of Commons. That doesn't help anyone, does it?
I do remember her, but I don't remember any name.
Her name's Harriet Slater, and it was in Wilson's government in the 60s. So we now come to the final question. This is the one.
Someone got the right answer in the chat. Well,
Who did? Someone got it right.
Angus, another Scotsman.
Did Angus get it right? Right, Angus is getting. Sorry, Ian, but we're going to have to go to Angus.
I didn't want to be biased. We're in a different room, so.
Angus, did you get that right? Did you cheat?
No, it's my friend Hassan that actually did this. He just grabbed my keyboard.
Did he cheat?
No.
No, he just knew the answer.
Are you there? Do you want to take the next one on behalf of him, Angus?
Yeah, sure.
This is the winning question for the week. You can get it if you can get it first, then you win, right? But if you don't get it, then the prize for champion goes to whoever does.
Okay.
This is the third final question. Who is this?
No idea. No idea.
No idea? Anyone?
Employment fraud, apart from Freud. Yeah.
No. Is anyone getting it? I'll give a clue. The clue is that he was instrumental in setting up the LSE.
Oh.
He was an MP from 1923 for 2 terms. He was. Do you want me to share it again?
Yes.
Yeah, you've come back in the room. Is that why? I can see you. I can see at the side of the screen there. You know who that is?
It's not Hardy. It's not Keir Hardy, is it? No. It's not Keir Hardy.
I'm surprised people haven't got this one. The Fabians comes into play here.
Oh.
Yes, right. Richard, he's got it. It's Sydney Webb. It's Sydney Webb.
Okay.
Richard, are you there?
Yes.
Richard, you're the champion for this week.
Wow.
How did you get Sydney Webb? Did you cheat for that? Or did you know it?
Cheated, yeah.
You knew it?
Yeah, I cheated.
You cheated?
Yeah, you gave too many clues.
Oh, you looked up LSE, did you?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. I think I think you should be applauded for your ability to cheat in such
Fast
a
Google
situation
skills.
about a Labour person from history. So tell us about you. What CLP are you from?
St Albans.
St Albans, and and are you?
Crispin,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but someone else actually got it first before.
Oh my God!
Sorry.
The drama here, Alison. What's going on? Who's first?
Derek Evans.
Derek.
I don't know if
Derek
I don't know if he cheated.
Well, I'll just have a word of Derek Evans first. Hold on, Richard. Wait there. It could be Derek or it could be Mary. Is that?
Yeah, Mary got it actually.
Mary, did you get it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did come you knew?
Well, because I went to a London School of Economics, that's why.
Okay, so Mary and Derek, you are the champions from Banbury CLP. You get to come back next week and have fun with all the questions. And well done. Good to see you both.
Great show.
And we're going to now move on to we're going to move on to our next section of the show, which I know you're here for, Derek and Mary, which is this bit. And I'm now going to say, are you there? Are you there? Don Biswas. Are you there, Don Biswas?
Hello, Crispin. How are you?
I'm good. Sorry about we're running a bit late again, but have you been busy since we last met on Saturday? We saw you.
Been a little bit busy. I'll leave with 5 things before I go. 5 quick things. First of all, it's Thursday tomorrow. I want to celebrate our key workers. So tomorrow at 8 p.m, I'll be clapping for the fact that our Home Secretary, Priti Patel, has managed to get shoplifting figures down from last year. Also, apart from celebrating key workers, we need to celebrate BAME members of the party with recent events. We should celebrate diversity wherever we can, whether it's Black History Month, Dyspraxia Awareness Week, or even National ADHD Minute. 3 more things. Finally, not 3 more things, not finally. Keir Starmer wants COVID-19 testing in public libraries. Doesn't he know the fact that this government have closed down all the libraries? And also, one of the things that I want to know, and I've been researching and trying to predict, is when will this government announce the end of the lockdown? So just before they announce it, if I can predict it, I can sell my shares in Zoom.
Oh.
And finally, with the baby boy arriving today in this country, unlike a lot of people, I know how many children the leader of our country has. I Googled it earlier. It turns out Dominic Cummings has 1 child. Thank you. See you later.
Oh, see you later. See you later, Don. Keep going. Have a good week till Saturday. Suzy, are you there?
Hello.
Wow. You got
Hi.
your workers then?
Well, I was watching on This Morning today, and they were doing like at-home hair tips and how to curl your hair. And the lady, the beauty expert, she had toilet rolls, so she was using toilet rolls because it doesn't burn your hair or anything. But the recycling went out yesterday, so we only had 1. So I've improvised. I'm going for the Farrah Fawcett look. So I've improvised with some vitamin C tablets and a little bottle of VI poo. So I'll leave that in and see how that turns out in the morning. Yeah, so this is I'm enjoying this show because it's like documenting my descent into madness every day, every other day. But today was did you know it's National Postal Workers Day today?
No. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah,
it was. And I ordered some stuff because my nephew turns 5 on Friday, so I've ordered some stuff, and we're going to do a drive-by drop-off on Friday. And as a treat for the postman, because it was a special day, I put my best dressing gown on just for him to answer the door, the one without the gravy stain. So it was a little treat. As a little treat on his special day. But yeah, I've been trying to practice self-care this week. So because I haven't started the diet yet, I didn't do very well. But a friend of mine gave me a 30-day free trial for this workout app. So I sat and watched that today with a cup of tea. But yeah, I did have to pop to the shop the other day and I had to put my bra on. Do you remember last week when I told you that I had to put a bra extender on because I've put on so much weight?
Yeah.
Do you remember I showed it to you?
Yeah.
Well, this is the state of this week. This is where I am now. This is what's happening. So I've got to get that sorted. But I've been trying to sort of help myself spiritually, and a friend of mine bought this for me a while ago, The Secret. I'm not allowed to tell you what it's all about. I'm getting into it, but I just want to get to the part where they tell us Colonel Sanders' secret recipe. I don't know if that's near the end, but I've been trying to sort of let this soak in. So maybe next time you see me, I'll be some kind of guru. What else has happened? Oh, not much really. I was having the romance with the US Marine.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? Yeah, he's still sending me photos and stuff. His video camera's still not working because they're on a secret mission. But for some reason they've got a Nigerian bank account, so I'll be sending all the stuff for that. But we're hopefully going to meet up. But in the meantime, I've got this body pillow because I miss cuddles, you see. So I've got this pillow. I don't know if anyone else has got one like this. It's like a long sausage shape. And it's supposed to be good for your back, but it's nice because it's you give it a cuddle in bed. And but unfortunately, mine I've been kind of a bit too lonely, and it's kind of developed a big dent in it, and it's gone a bit flat. It's not supposed to be like that. Can you see? I've kind of squashed it. I've loved it a bit too much. There is a little stain on it, but that's cracked foot cream. Well, what I think that's it really. I don't really have anything to say. Just been doing nothing and drinking and my body pillow, I don't know if it is Patrick Monahan there, because I call this Patrick, and can I just say it's nothing to do with Pat Monahan. I know he's very much in love in a relationship, so I actually called it after Patrick Swayze. This is genuinely true, because it arrived on the day of Patrick Swayze's 10-year anniversary of being dead. So I called it Patrick, and I just want to say to Lily, I've got no designs on your man, Lily. I mean, there was that time at the Edinburgh Festival when he was my next door neighbour, and I texted him to say I'd left it on the latch, but he left me on unread, so I don't think I'm going to out there. Anyway. Lovely to see you all. Thanks for your support. I'm going to go now because it's Coronation Street night. Woohoo! Bye.
See you, Suzy. Oh, there you are, Patrick.
How are you doing?
How are you doing? Are you keeping well?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, Chris. But I've been busy. I've been on the internet this week trying to buy a time machine so that I can try and win your quiz one day. I still haven't got to figure any of these people out. I'll be like that. And also, that hat you've got is absolutely lovely. Do you know what I missed out on it today? £20 on that hat. It's absolutely brilliant.
Do you want to see this bit? Look at this bit here. Look, it's got Look at
that. Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness, that is fat. It's like your hat is like a drive-through. Look, it's got like McDonald's. Is that McDonald's, baby?
Yeah, it's a McDonald's.
Yes.
Yeah. But
my goodness, it's absolutely
actually, they could sue me if they see that. I better hide it. So
oh no, they've got.
Have you? Why are your shelves empty? Have you been selling stuff in your flat?
Yeah, I've just been busy on eBay. I just thought I'd been selling all sorts of things. Suzy there was mentioning about Lily, my partner, and Lily's just been. She's one of these people that she's very minimalistic. She keeps going round. I try to put stuff in, and we're just going on eBay selling them to buy more food. We're just like, it's all skint stuff like that. But do you know what I've been doing this week as well, Crispin? I've been reflecting on all those sayings that I've missed, while we've been in lockdown. I don't know if anyone else has done this, but I find it really hard now, because I used to, back in the day when I was out and about, I used to say to people at the end of the show or when I was chatting to people, I'd say, get home safe. And you can't say that now, can you? I tried to do that the other night on Zoom. I said, get home safe. And everyone's looking at me like going, well, I'm in the front room. I'm only going to the bedroom. They're like, what sort of dangers? People are panicking, thinking I've put some assassins in their hallway. They're going, you're not going to get to the bedroom safe tonight, babe, like that. And then also some of the other sayings that I've missed is, do you remember that when you used to say, oh, the hours have flown by. Where have the hours gone? And we're all like, yeah, I know where they are, mate. eBay, Netflix, on YouTube. I mean, just look at our internet history. It will tell you exactly where. One of the other things that I've missed as well, do you remember that saying when people used to say, they used to always say, it's so lovely to have the family around. Do you remember that? Not now. People are like, I wish the family would leave, mate. We've had them here for like 3 weeks. Not that you just want them to go and stuff like that. And the other thing that I really miss is when, do you remember that when people used to say, oh, I really just love a night in. I really just love a night in. And you're thinking, no one has ever said that in Netflix, where we've looked at each other like that. And one of the most important things that I don't know if you've been struggling with this is, you know, when someone offers you and they say, would you like another biscuit? And I always say, yeah, go on. I mean, what harm is it going to be to have another biscuit? And then they respond to you with saying, it's the 17th biscuit you've had, and it's only 17 minutes past 9 in the morning. And I think this is the problem no one is dealing with now. The thing is, listen, what is someone going to tackle snacking? Because this is more dangerous than coronavirus. During lockdown, I have started snacking more than I'm eating. It's ridiculous. I used to have 3 meals a day. I'm having 3 meals a day and 27 snack breaks. I'm having snack breaks between the snacks. I've left food all around the house because I'm sick of walking back to the kitchen. I was in the toilet. I'm on the toilet. I'm having snacks. I'm having a biscuit and a cup of tea while I'm on the toilet. It's like I'm not leaving for an hour because I'm just refilling myself up because I'm trying to get out the system. And then this was one of the most horrific things, Crispin. I don't know if you've had to deal with this, right? But I've literally had to put a focus on myself because I've had to now do social distancing from the fridge and the kitchen cupboards. I've had to put 2 meter mark from there. And now when I'm going outside, you know, everyone's going, you've got to be 2 meters for everyone else. I'm about 3.5 meters because I've grown about 2.5 meters wide like that. So you've got to, I have to go in a parallel universe in a parallel supermarket just to get in there. Now,
it doesn't sound like you're doing too well this week because you've tried to get out of the time zone and you're all getting so it's not been easy.
It's that time machine. Yeah, it's that time machine. It'd be fantastic. Do you want to use it?
Yeah, I could do it.
You could use the time machine when you're doing your quiz. No, because what you could do is you could ask a question and then go back in time and actually see if anyone would know any harder questions.
I'm going to keep. I'm going to have to. We're running late, so I'm going to have to move on, Patrick. Thank you again, all the comedians, for tuning in. Boris on the bog couldn't make it tonight because he's got the baby there. Obviously, it's the dog. And Jason contacted me just before the show to say that he's got to do some deliveries this evening, so he can't make it. He'll be back on Saturday. We'll have Jason on Saturday. And now I am going to say hello to Rob.
Oh, hello.
And how are you doing, Rob?
Well, you know, funnily enough, not a lot has changed since Saturday. and then there was Monday, and then there was Tuesday, and then there's today. So, yeah, trudging on. This is my cat, Ginger, who was the very hero of cats. He had to go to the vets for the long journey yesterday, which is really sad because he's the best cat in the fucking universe. But otherwise, the vets were great. The vets were really good.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
When he took the needle, and so it was good. But apart from that, it's just like watching the sunrises, the sunsets, and it started raining. So yeah, I haven't put my hair in curlers, and I haven't got a hat.
Have you not been writing? If you haven't written another song?
I have, yes. I didn't write another song. Yes. Yeah. Do you know what? One of the good things about this lockdown is that I think if I stop writing songs about the pandemic, I might actually write some sort of interesting songs because it's pissed me off for a long time. You go in a shop and someone goes, someone goes, "Hello, boss," and I think, who wants to call a boss? That's the worst thing. I say, call me comrade, call me mate, call me stupid. Don't call me. It's like the British Empire. I find it really insulting that anybody would think that I'm a boss. You know, I mean, like, I have problems with authority. So I've written a song called "Don't Call Me Boss," which is basically the end of the story. So that was quite good. I think I
quite like being called boss, though. I must say, it gives me a I quite like it when they say hello, boss. I'm like, yeah, well, maybe.
That's how Stalin started.
Oh, right. Well, I haven't got attached yet, so I should be all right. So what have you've got a song from your catalogue? for tonight?
Yes, yeah, I thought it would be good to do something for because we are all feeling a bit everybody's feeling a bit fuck. So here's a piece of harmless millenarian utopianism based upon that old slogan, situation slogan from 1968: "Be reasonable, demand the impossible." So, and it's a shopping list of what we could possibly do once the lockdown's over and socialist government is achieved. And you might think it's a bit of wish fulfillment, but let's not remember that the Chartists had 6 demands that weren't met in their lifetime, but now 5 of them are part of our everyday life. So I've seen Tony Benn, and I know that things do eventually get better. Well, we'll rehouse the homeless in Buckingham Palace. Start at the bottom, work down to the top. Stop the city, rebuild the forest, cancel the rent, nickel the cops. Be reasonable and demand the impossible now. Be reasonable and demand the impossible now. We'll turn all motorways into canals, close all the older marston's down. All systems for people, not the other way around. Yeah, be reasonable and demand the impossible now. Yeah, be reasonable and demand the impossible now. We'll spring all the animals, vote for the clowns in the circus, bourgeoisie, where the rich sing the blues till their trousers fall down. Then they ask you the price of a nice cup of tea. Be reasonable and demand the impossible now. Be reasonable and demand the impossible now. Road gardens and hospitals on every street, sunflowers, playgrounds and schools, where you do what you like, because you like what you do. We'll stop the war once and for all. Be reasonable and demand the impossible now. Be reasonable and demand the impossible now. No master, no landlord, no flag, no guru, no Gauleiter, no commissar. Just justice and poetry, jam on it too. When they ask who's in charge here, we all say we are. Be reasonable and demand the impossible now. Be reasonable and demand the impossible now. All together. No master, no landlord, no flag, no guru, no Gauleiter, no commissar. Just justice and poetry and jam on it too. And when they ask who's in charge here, we all say, we are. Be reasonable and demand the impossible now. Be reasonable and demand the impossible now. Whoa, be reasonable. Yeah, be reasonable. Oh, be reasonable and demand the impossible now. Hey. Thank you.
There's a lot more clapping, but you can't hear them. I can see them though. Fantastic, Rob. Thank you very much. I'm sure that the days won't be as tedious as you've described earlier, especially if you sing songs like that all the time. And we're going to unmute. We're going to do, because we're running late. But we are going to do what we do every week, which is leave half a minute for everyone to make as much noise as they want and talk to people that they haven't spoken to during the show. I don't know if you've all been looking at everyone else in the Zoom room. But anyway. You might be able to say hello to them now. So I'm going to unmute everyone and I'll say goodbye, and we'll see you on Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock when we will have another great show, and I'll be sending out information about that. So say hello to everyone now.
Fantastic.
That was bloody amazing, mate.
Enjoy.
Suzy B,
Yeah.
Kerry, Don, Rob,
Oh, and demand the impossible now.
It's been superb. Brilliant. Rob, Rob, Suzy Bennett.
I know we're running out of time.